Blog Talk Radio.
Oh, it's time to get real. Oh, yeah. It's a new experience. Reality, spirituality. Yeah, keep your ears open for this one now. Reality, spirituality. You got a question for RLN? Reality, spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get some answers, baby. Reality, spirituality. Oh, now we getting real.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Reality Spirituality. It's a new experience. Okay, I won't do the whole song. I was dancing to my song today. That's right, the song that was composed by my one and only Nathan Norrington, my one and only son. But anyway, welcome to Reality Spirituality. I'm your host, Rebecca L. Norrington. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for telling your friends. Thank you for following, and just, big arms are out right now. Arms are outspread. I am really grateful for all of you listeners. I really am, regardless of how many people that listen. My purpose on this planet is to share with you, to share with my dear audience, my dear listeners, how to experience more happiness in your life, how to experience more happiness on this journey we call life. And let me tell you something. Being the world's only happiness specialist is no joke. I get hit with a lot of stuff. I get hit right and left, blindsided, right and left, up and down. So it's more than just talking about it. It's walking about it. And today's topic, I love today's topic because it is something that we all can relate to. Last week I did a show about clutter, but this week we're talking about the roller coaster ride of emotions and feelings. Can anybody out there relate to the roller coaster ride of emotion and feelings and labeling those feelings either good or bad? Now, you know that the labels cause all labels subtract from happiness. So it's really tricky when we label our feelings, oh, this is good, this feels good, and the other feeling, this feels bad. But I'm rushing into the show. Let me give you a little bit of information before I start fast. I start fast. There's no sliding into it. It's just bam, I'm on the runway and I'm taking off. I'm taking off. Reality Spirituality is heard every Sunday at 9 a.m., and we are getting more listeners every week. It's heard on iHeartRadio, TuneIn. It's heard on Apple, I believe, and also, of course, Blog Talk Radio. I'm heard. My Twitter handle is RL Norrington. Instagram is Reality Spirituality. I have Reality Spirituality on Facebook. Go to Facebook and like Reality Spirituality or not. It's okay, regardless. Whatever you're inspired to do, I'm okay with it. Today's topic is something that, let me say this. All the topics that I bring up are challenges in my own life. And the only reason why I'm sharing and I'm giving a behind-the-scenes view, look into what's behind the curtain is because I believe that we're more alike than different. I mean, who doesn't suffer, or who isn't challenged by relationships, or challenged by financial issues, or challenged by health issues, or challenged by family members, or the circumstances in this world. So this is just and if whatever I say relates or you can feel it, fine. If you don't feel it, oh, gee, you're just all wrong. Rebecca, your perspective is off, that's okay too, because let me tell you something. We are as different as our fingerprints, and what's going to work for me may not work for you, but I'm just throwing out ideas. I'm throwing out specifics just so you can custom make this to your own life. My happiness, my definition of happiness is being able to feel, to vibrate peace, regardless of what happens and regardless of what doesn't happen. And being happiness, this word happy, is the same as feeling peaceful, feeling content, having a vibration of satisfaction, feeling balanced, feeling relaxed, just being able to trust. And all of those things that I just mentioned become a part of you. Happiness is a practice skill. And like anything else that you practice, like everything else you practice, the more you practice, the more your practice becomes your identity. And let me tell you something. I was listening to I don't know if I share this. I've shared it before, but I'm going to share it again. I haven't shared this in a long time. But the people that I read, the people that are my foundation, when I say people, I'm talking about authors and or people that roam the planet. The authors, some of my favorite authors, Deepak Chopra writes really good books. Eckhart Tolle, same thing. Abraham from Esther Hicks. But my favorite, I know we're not supposed to have preferences. You learn something from everybody. My number one guy is David Hawkins, and he written a few books, and my favorites are, Force versus Power, or is it Power versus Force? Power versus Force, and this one that I've just almost torn up, The Eye of the Eye. All of his books are great, but even David Hawkins had a mentor, or had a teacher, if you will. And his teacher was Lester Levinson. Now, this Lester Levinson was saying the same things. How truth is just passed down. Truth is passed down. You can't get around it. You can't. It's either truth or it's not. It's either reality or it's an illusion. And so David Hawkins' teacher was Lester Levinson. And I'm listening to one of his videos on YouTube. You can listen to any of his videos, Lester Levinson and or David Hawkins, Hawkins. Anywho, listening to Lester, and this guy said, which really bothered me. It really bothered me. He said that that you get, and I'm paraphrasing, that you are growing, getting to a higher level, and it's all about levels of consciousness, levels of self-awareness, levels of peace. It's just different levels, stages, or even stages. He says, you're in a spot where you are connected to your inner being, connected to the universe. I say universe. Some people like to say spirit, God, force. It doesn't matter what word you use. To me, it doesn't matter. He said, that when you are connected to source, when you are following or your inner being is really the guide, the one that is driving, is when you are not, listen to this one, audience, is when nothing bothers you. That bothered me. That whole statement bothered me. When you get to a place where nothing bothers you, not your thoughts, not your emotions, not your circumstances, where nothing bothers you. Now, is that even possible? I say yes, with practice, with commitment. Yes, of course that's possible. But it's a lot of practice, and it's a lifetime of commitment, and it's a lot of practice. And we're going to get to today's topic because him saying that just reiterated what I already knew. And just looking back on life with my mother's death and her leaving the family house to the handyman and all of its contents to the handyman. I mean, I told that story, and it took me about 2 weeks to shake all that off. But come on, you can't get any funnier than your mother dies and the family home is left to the handyman. I mean, that is the funniest ass story ever, and I can laugh at it now because the truth is there is a reason why that happened, and for me the reason why to spotlight my attachment, to spotlight me having attachment, to spotlight having expectations, because all expectations and all attachments subtract from peace, subtract from happiness. So the universe is just shaking me up. You still have attachments here, and they can't give me anything small. No, they have to hit me with a house, like Dorothy, like the Wicked Witch of the East, where the house has to fall on them. Anywho, let me get to today's topic. Today's topic is about roller coaster of emotions, and come on, audience, isn't that what life is? A roller coaster of emotions and feelings. Isn't that what life is? Up and down, highs and low, roller coaster ride, feeling good, feeling not good, feeling sad, feeling angry, feeling peaceful. It's just a roller coaster. And one of the huge truths that I discovered, it is the roller coaster of emotion has nothing to do with the event. That's a story that's told. I'm feeling good because of ... fill in the blank. I'm feeling bad because of fill in the blank. I know how that sounds. It sounds impossible, but it is not your circumstances that dictate how you are feeling. I know we were programmed to believe that. We were programmed to believe that. Of course it's the circumstances. This happened, now I feel good. But again, it is the roller coaster. It is the programming that is the culprit. It is the programming that this happened, now I feel good. Come on. I'm going to leave it at that with a period on that. So if you listen to the show, you know I'm a big sports fan. Well, mostly basketball and football. Well, football is my favorite, and basketball is second. And I always watch the championship games. And right now they're having, and I'm not really a college basketball fan, but the championship games are happening. So I really like to watch championship games because it's just so much energy. Just come on, the college NCAA down to the final 16 teams. I mean, there's hundreds of teams, I guess, and it goes down to the final 16. Now they got to go down to the final 8 teams, final 4 teams, and then of course the last 2 teams for the championship. So there's a lot of emotions, and these are college kids, and there are a lot of emotions up and down and up and down. Now, the interesting thing is watching I'm going to throw something out. Not all people learn from losing, but I'm going to say that, let me speak for myself, that losing, that things not going my way, I learn the most, not only learn, scratch the learn, I grow the most with challenges. I grow the most when adversity hits. I grow the most when the sun isn't shining and everything is going well. No, it's like anything else in nature. It's pressure. Pressure causes growth. And so even though, and I don't know about all these coaches, but even though the college team loses, what are the coaches teaching these children? I say children because they're 18 and late teens and 20s, early 20s, when they lose. So it is a learning process. And I have a question for you, my dear audience. Are you open to the challenges? Are you accepting of life's challenges? Or would you rather have it smooth sailing? If you knew that your challenges are going to bring growth and bring you to another level of awareness and consciousness, what is this awareness and consciousness? More awareness, more consciousness brings about more peace. More peace equals more happiness. More peace equals more the vibration of being satisfied. You know, we're either vibrating satisfied or dissatisfied. And so it really comes down to looking in the mirror and saying, okay, am I resisting? Do I not want challenges, or am I open to challenges? Am I excited to see am I excited to experience the growth that happens from the challenges? That's a question that only you can answer. And it really helps, I'm going to say, speaking for myself, it really helps me when I'm, in that state of, oh, God, what? But I already know that whatever is happening is going to take me to another level. So it's that light in the middle of the storm. It's that light at the end of the tunnel that I know, I trust. Not only I trust, I know from my past experience. And you can answer this you can answer this question yourself. The worst of the worst of the worst can happen, but do you remember having a different perspective and coming out of that with a higher level of growth, consciousness, awareness, all of it. So that's what's really good about growing. Growing is you're not the same as you were 6 months ago. The things that used to, speaking for myself, the things that used to, quote, bother me or press my buttons or push my buttons, I could care less about now. That's what growth is. Now, these emotions, what's really interesting with the emotions, treating feelings as they're either good or bad, again, that's another programming. So what usually happens is when something happens and I don't like it and I'm going to, so you either react to it, you respond to it, and of course, there's always the blame factor. It's the blaming, this happened, and that's why I'm feeling this way. I can tell you, and I've shared before, since 2008, that the day I buried my father was one of the happiest days of my life. Memorable, happy, because it was the chance. I mean, it was a celebration of his life, and it was a chance for me to speak. It was a chance for me to speak, and it was a chance for me to be the example to my son, especially if you're parents out there, being the example to your children of giving them another option of how to respond when a parent dies. I'm not going to throw the ball in your lap, but isn't that your responsibility to speak about it, to give your children an example of how to respond when a parent dies? I mean, we teach them a lot of other things. The response to life, the response to life circumstances. I mean, you either are practicing, you either are prepared, you either are open to it, you either are accepting to it, or you're not, or you're resisting it. I know that's a hard one to swallow. let me say something about the roller coaster of emotions again. Do any of you out there know the television show Dog Whisperer or Cesar Millan? That's his name. He's the dog whisperer. And so he goes to people's houses and he's what does he say? He says he rehabilitates humans and he reminds the dogs who they are. So these dogs that have these behavioral problems, it's never the dog's fault. It's always the human's fault. The dog takes on the energy of the human, whether it's nervous energy, whether it's frightful energy, whether it's scared energy, whether it's the animals. I'm just going to speak for the dog. At least this is what Caesar says, that the animals take on the energy of the humans. So Caesar goes to the people's houses and he trains them how to be, he calls it calm and assertive energy. Calm and assertive energy. And listen, this is not a plug for his show, but there is something that I want to say that he does to these dogs when he's snapping them out of this behavior that's really not them. He always talks about the dogs being themselves. A poodle has a certain characteristic. Hunting dogs have certain characteristics. Pit bulls certain characteristics. So each dog has a unique personality, if you will. Anyway, so what he does is when the dog is behaving in a manner that isn't really acceptable, Caesar does this. He does a shh, and he takes his hand in maybe 3 fingers or 4 fingers, and he taps the dog, and he taps him, and he taps him, and he goes shh, tap, shh, tap. If you've seen the show, you know what I'm talking about. And why does he do that? He says to snap the dog out of this mental state that the dog is in, because the mental state that the dog is in is not a good place. Well, let's scratch that and let's go all the way to the humans. That's what I'm talking about. This state of feelings and emotion. First of all, going back to what Lester Levinson said and saying that getting to a place where where you're not moved by, you're not up or you're not down. We're nothing. Did he say nothing matters, but nothing bothers you? That's what he said. Nothing bothers you. Getting to that state of nothing bothers you. Do you know that we were born in that state? We were born feeling that. We were born like that. Because you put a 6-month-old, you put a 10-month-old, you put a baby, and you look at the baby and you say, hey, guess what? Your house is burning down. Or, hey, baby, guess what? Your parents, sorry to laugh at this one. Hey, baby, guess what? Your parents just got in a car accident. They're in the hospital now. You're not going to see them for another 6 months. Or, hey, baby, you have a terminal disease. So the baby is going to look at you and not be bothered. The programming that comes after, the programming that comes is the programming that teaches us what to be bothered by. It is the programming that is the problem. Programming, brainwashing, it's the conditioning. That is the problem. So we learn how to be bothered. We learn how to be upset. We learn that this emotion means this happened, so now we just pull out of our hats this emotion. And that is where the power comes in. Because whatever you learn, you can unlearn. Whatever you learn, you can unlearn. And if you make a commitment to practicing feeling peaceful, regardless of whatever happens, the more you practice, the more peace you are going to feel. Now, let me say this. I like to give this analogy. If you've ever been out on the ocean or even just seen movies about the oceans, I mean, come on, the typhoons, the storms, and I've used this analogy before, and I love it. Because on the surface of the ocean, on the surface of the Atlantic Ocean, it is rough, it is always moving, big waves, tidal waves, tsunamis, all of this stuff. But when you go all the way down and get down to the bottom of the ocean, to the ocean floor, there's not even light that gets down there. The animals, the fish down there, the animals down there, fish, yes, of course, don't even have eyeballs because they don't need them. There's no light. And it is as peaceful as you can imagine. The surface of the ocean is moving, swirling, lots of turmoil, lots of energy, but at the very bottom, the bottom of the ocean floor, there is peace. It's quiet. So when I say becoming and having peace as your identity, that's what I'm talking about. When you are rooted in peace, and you practice what adds to peace, what adds to happiness, what adds to contentment, and you eliminate the things that subtract, you will begin to vibrate peace during all circumstances. That's a promise. And you've seen it. You see people that do it all the time, especially the athletes. So only because I watch football. And listen, 2 years ago, the Patriots, excuse me, audience, the Patriots and Tom Brady were in the Super Bowl, and they were down. Listen to this. I don't know if anybody knows, but I'm going to explain it. They were down. The score was 28-3. 28-3 in the third quarter with 2 minutes left. 2 minutes, 12 seconds left in the third quarter. Now, football has 4 quarters. In the third quarter, they were down 28-3. They were down 25 points. Now, no one in the history of football has ever come back from being down 25 points, ever. The biggest margin was 10 points. This is how much I love football. These scores are coming out the top of my head. The biggest comeback since 2 years ago was 10 points. The Tom Brady and the Patriots, Bill Belichick, Tom Brady, you either love him or you hate him, came back from 25 points down. The odds of them winning that game was 99.9. Zero odds of winning. And here's where the practice comes in. Here is where the tie-in. How am I going to tie in football with practicing peace and happiness? Here we go. That Tom Brady walked on the field. If you ever watch, he walks on the field, and that guy is as calm and peaceful. I mean, you cannot. It's like a cube of ice. Why? Because that's what he practices. And I'm going to throw that out to any professional athlete. When you are in the middle of your profession and you've practiced and you're top of the food chain, from the Michael Jordans to the LeBrons to the Allen Iversons to the Dr. J's, all of these people that practice, all these people, when they're in the middle of the storm, being down 25, it's never been done. 99.9. You don't think that they knew all that? Not only him, just anyone. with all that pressure, to be able to be peaceful and calm and to execute and to eventually win the game? That's what I'm talking about when I say practice. And what do you practice? What do you practice that's going to add to your peace and your happiness? I'm going to give you a list of things to practice right now. Making happiness, making peace your number one priority. Having a moment-by-moment commitment to wanting to be happier. Surrendering to whatever is happening in the moment. Humbling the ego. That means starving the ego, not allowing the ego to be powerful. Because, the ego is the one that says, oh, sad is bad and happy is good. Or sad is bad, happy is good, angry is bad. The ego is the one that gives the label. So it's our responsibility to humble the ego and give that ego less power and less things to do. Starve the ego of its power. You know that voice. You know the voice. You know the ego has one job, and that's to make you feel as bad as possible for as long as possible. It's its only job. Never goes on vacations either, trust me. So humbling the ego, being yourself adds to your peace. That means being yourself in every circumstance, in every situation. Acceptance of life, acceptance of self, acceptance of these other people. Living consciously, that means in every moment, you're not saying, hi, how are you? How's your day? Hi on Monday. How was your weekend? Friday. Hey, what are you going to do on the weekend? In other words, living consciously, meaning living an unprogrammed life. Unprogrammed, non-programmed. The other thing that's going to add to your peace and your happiness and your contentment is being okay with uncertainty. That's a tricky one. Being okay with uncertainty. That means that tomorrow, the future, who knows what's going to happen, but do you trust? And that's another one. Trusting that everything that is happening and everything that will happen is in your best interest, is there to serve you, is for your betterment. Trusting that. Do you trust that? Allowing and letting go. Choosing your perspective. In other words, when I said, hey, the mother left it to the handyman, come on. Isn't there only one perspective? I mean, whenever I tell that story, if ever I tell that story personally, face-to-face with somebody, come on, there's only one program reaction. The eyebrows go up, the eyes get big, and, oh, God, it's a program reaction. That's why I don't really tell the story personally because, come on. I don't need any more drama, right? Choosing your perspective, choosing your focus. Okay, here we go. Staying out of everybody else's business. You want more peace? You want more happiness? Stop noticing what anybody else is doing. No need to comment on it. No need to talk about it. No need to notice it. Leave these people alone. That's a hard one. In conclusion, let me just check and make sure. Oh, I wanted to say this thing about Tom Brady, and that goes for any organization. New England has a reputation. They're the top of the food chain, number one. And the reason why they're number one, and any other sports group, I think that Duke is another college team, always, in the Final Four, Final Eight. There are top teams that always rise to the top. For what reason? It's the same reason. It's the commitment. It's the discipline. It's the practice. It's the system. What I'm talking about and what I'm sharing with you is a system. What to do, how to experience more happiness. It's a formula. It's a formula. And it depends on your priorities. I mean, I get it. I didn't prioritize happiness for decades. I prioritized a lot of other things that my ego wanted me to prioritize. Now it's only peace and happiness. Write that down. So it is a practice. Let's see. And, sorry, ego, I just wanted to say, I'm just looking over my notes. Yes, I talked about that. Yes. Ocean, yes. What do you do with all the feelings and emotions? What do you do with all the feelings and emotions? I'm so glad I remembered this one. I didn't remember it. That's why I have to write notes. What do you do with all the feelings and the emotions? Well, let me say this. Just like the ocean, just like riding a wave, accept that you are going to feel a lot of things in a lot of moments on this journey. You're going to feel a lot. The defining the feeling, the labeling the feeling really, really doesn't add to peace. Even if you're defining it, I feel peaceful. It doesn't really add. It's just the experience. Life is an experience without a judgment. And when you stop labeling and when you stop judging good and or bad and just knowing and trusting that this is just an experience, and you are here to experience, and you are here to experience, and you are here to vibrate an energy of peace, just like you did when you were spit out. It's the same. You're not going to get a little baby to get riled up and have a tizzy fit or angry or anything when you tell them, hey, that your house is burning down. Try saying that to a 3-month-old, 6-month-old, 1-year-old, year and a half. Hey, your house is burning, until somebody teaches them, your house is burning down, that's bad. So what do you do with all the feelings and emotions? You ride it out. You ride it out. And you avoid saying that the reason why I'm feeling this way is because of fill in the blank, A, B, or C. No, you're just feeling that way. You're just feeling that way. You don't need to put a reason on it. You don't need to put a story behind it because all the story is ego-based. We are here to be. We are here to be peaceful. We are here to vibrate. We are here to do a lot of things. We are here to be inspired to act, inspired action. All right, I think I talked enough. Okay, now go have a great week. Reality Spirituality is heard every Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Visit my website at RebeccaNorrington.com. Follow me on Twitter at RL Norrington. Instagram handle is Reality Spirituality. YouTube channel, you can go on YouTube and search, and I have a few YouTube videos out there. Reality Spirituality is on Facebook. Yes, you can go to Reality Spirituality and like Reality Spirituality. Thank you for my new followers and my new listeners. I get new followers every week. I don't know how you people find me, but I'm glad that you do. My first book, Reality Spirituality, The Truth About Happiness, can be purchased on Amazon. My second book, Program for Unhappiness, will be out sometime this year. Join me again next week when there's going to be a new topic. And until next time, my dear audience, I want you to remember who you are. You are a physical extension of the universe. You are representing the universe. You're always evolving and you're always changing. You're always growing. Love is patient and love is kind. Be patient and be kind to yourself. Stay open. Be your own best friend. I know I'm bossing you around. Remember, you cannot have a happy ending to an unhappy journey. You've been listening to Reality Spirituality. Have a conscious week, and I will chat with you again next week. Reality Spirituality. Have a great conscious week.
Yeah. Oh, it's time to get real. Oh, yeah.
Reality Spirituality.
It's a new